Hello and welcome to another edition of The Family Business with the Alessis. I'm Steve Alessi, and around the table today I have Mary Alessi and I have Stephanie Alessi Muina.
Yes.
And we're talking about things here today in our podcast that we don't talk about on Sundays. And the reason we have our Family Business podcast is because family is really everybody's business. So today, here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how we as a family work together.
Oh, no, we don't want to talk about that.
Now that our daughter's pregnant with all the
Wait, how do we work with her?
And all of the other things that come with being pregnant. Hey, Mary, how is it working with your pregnant daughter these days?
Oh, well, it depends on what day you're talking about. There are good days, there are bad days. Actually, it's pretty good when she's, when everything's balanced and she's not hungry.
Yeah.
As long as she's not hungry, we're good. If she's hungry, she's a tiger.
Yes.
It's very bossy.
Yes, I have my good days, I have my bad days.
Yeah.
But we haven't written together since, so it's fine.
Oh, my gosh. Steph, how is it working with your mother now that you're pregnant?
I have to keep her fed. She has her good days and she has her bad days. And she's hormonal sometimes.
So you know what?
Oh, man.
Menopause, pregnancy. There's a lot of similarities in the two.
A lot of parallels.
Bad for no reason.
Okay, so we asked that question because Stephanie was we're not going to talk about the family working together anymore today on this one.
No.
The dynamics. So I had to do it.
Yeah.
All right, so Steph, you and your mom,
Yes.
you have this handle on the aspect of our business, our ministry, which is the music and what is worship to our church family. And when Mom and I started the church years ago, we had that same kind of balance. I was the speaker, I was the leader, Mom was the co-leader, but she handled the music and the worship. Both had our little teams and so on. Well, you've picked up on that.
Yeah.
And it's a fortunate thing that your mom has gone before you.
Yes, it is. Oh my gosh. Thank God.
Because I can handle it as a family member who has the aspect of the music that they uphold. Because there's a lot that goes into what we do with my position and the music, setting an atmosphere, making sure it's appealing to everybody in the crowd.
Yep.
There's a lot that goes into this. So how in the world are we able to blend it? And then where do we take that now with all this beautiful music that we're able to make?
Well, working together when it comes to music and worship, and like you said, you and I have had 25 years of working it out. And we didn't just work it out, we fought it out. We had a lot of conflicts trying to get to the right sound for our church and the styles you like versus the styles I like. Ultimately, I understood after many seminars and trainings I would have to go to that you do have to submit that to the pastor and the vision of the church. Yeah. And you were always good about saying, okay, you like gospel a lot, I like gospel some, but our church is the sound of the house, which is you, Mary.
It's Miami.
And it's Miami.
South Florida.
So you would release that and just let it be organic, which we struggled for that for a while because you feel like you have to make some kind of sound. You have to create something rather than who you are coming together. It's already created. You just have to sing the sound that's on the inside of you. And you learned that even being when you preach, that you had to find your voice. You couldn't copy somebody else's voice because then you weren't authentic. And we had to do the same thing. Right. I had to do that. And then now adding this extra layer of all of us working together, you would think that would just be smooth and easy, but it's had its conflicts too.
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, I've been very lucky because not a lot of pastors' kids have parents and not a lot of musicians or writers have parents that give them the opportunity to even figure it out. So I first have to be very grateful for the opportunity, but I did have my very, very immature season of exactly that. I really was trying to make it cool or unique, and I wasn't embracing what we had in front of us, which was a little bit less than a family travel band.
Yeah, which was like, oh gosh.
Like, okay, Steph, just embrace it. Like, this is cool, Michael Jackson did it. So, like, you can sing with your family too.
Oh,
And also the sound that was coming out of us was really fun and cool.
Yeah.
But it took a little time for me to embrace that. And then I felt like once I finally mentally embraced the fact that I'm going to be writing songs with my mom and I'm going to be singing them with my siblings. Once I embraced that, it was like the pride for our songs was unleashed, and
Right.
the confidence in our vision and in our projects, that made it so much easier. Number
yeah.
one, easier and very, very fun.
Yeah. And Steph, the thing that you have to really embrace is the fact that partly the door was open because you're an Alessi
Yeah.
and a Moina now. Partly that door was open, but you had to step through it with your own talent
Yeah.
and your
Yeah.
own gifting. And it didn't just come because you had a guitar and you'd be playing some of your songs in your room and we just thought you were awesome. No, it took fine tuning, and you're still
Yes.
working really hard at defining this craft that is music. So you're up there, not just because you're our kid.
Yeah.
You're really not. You're up there and on staff in a position because you carry the gifting that comes with it. And it's not just recognized by us,
Hmm.
it's recognized by music labels and other songwriters who want to come up alongside of you and mom,
Yeah.
and y'all put your gift in place together. So it's not just something that you are given, which is
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of leaders in my position just give their kids positions that they really have not earned. They
Right.
don't have the skill set for it.
Yes.
And they prop them up there. They put them on social media. They put them out there.
Yep.
And sadly, they're not ready for it. Well, fortunately, we are not in that position. We're in a position
Yeah.
where you're extremely talented,
Yeah, she
and you
is.
come
Thanks.
together, and you and your mom, just the two are better than one, which
Right.
is not easy.
No.
Mary, you've had to deal with that realization that even your own gift, as great as it is, you're seeing that it could be even better when it's
Mhm.
combined with your daughters.
And collaborating, we're fortunate because to collaborate right now is like the way to do music and to do worship. Everybody's writing with somebody else. To be able to write with somebody that came out of your womb
Mm-hmm.
but knows you and you know them, and you're watching them develop this amazing not only gift but anointing, and really grabbing things from the atmosphere of our Sunday services that she wants to write about, and to for her to give me complete freedom to say, what do you think, mom? And she really, really listens to me. I don't overcorrect. I try not to,
No.
but she is, what I think about her song matters to her.
Mhm.
Yes.
And that matters to me. That makes it so much easier for me because that makes it a God-ordained partnership
Yes.
and not something we're trying to force that has a start date and an end date. We really are, the Bible says two are better than one. It also says that one puts 1,000, two can put 10,000 to flight.
Yeah.
I don't want to work by myself. I don't want to write these songs on my own. I never have.
Yeah.
That's not my strength space. She doesn't really either.
No.
We could, but we really do enjoy
Working
and
together.
derive a lot of strength
Mhm.
from working together on these songs.
Yeah. And I would also say that I had to come and I had to learn to trust you. At first, I was like, it's just my mom. But working with you, not even in songwriting, but in ministry and other little things, I was like, wait a minute. Number one, she has a talent of her own. She's
Mhm.
got here because of her gifting too. She didn't
Right.
just get propped up. And if she knows this song isn't good, then the song ain't good.
Right.
And if she knows that my ideas aren't all that great, then they must not be that great, because she's praised me when the ideas are really good too.
Right.
So she
Mhm.
knows.
Right.
But it was when I finally learned, like, trust your mom, trust the gifting in her too, because I learned that you were right 100% of the time.
Steph, that's a big deal.
It is a
Yeah.
huge
You
deal.
know, that I heard it said the other day, the biggest room in the world is room for improvement.
Wow. Oh, that's good.
It's
Yeah.
really good.
And here's what happens, even with kids looking at their parents today.
Yeah.
They think their parents are outdated. They're behind the times.
Yeah.
They're just not cool. They're just not up there. Everybody else is, but not family,
Parents.
not your parents.
Yep.
But yet, to keep a family working together, keep a family together, there has to be this mutual respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have this understanding that, when you're younger, you have to obey us.
Yeah.
As a child, the child in the home, before they are up to that, let's say 18,
Yeah.
they have to obey the parents, plain and simple. It's non-negotiable. Now, there's going to be a struggle there because the younger thinks, I know better. My parents are older. They're old-fashioned. So there's a struggle there for the obedience. Mom, how's that song?
Yeah.
Well, it's not
Right.
good, so on and so forth. Well, when you're 16, you would fight a little, but then you'd realize mom was right.
Yes.
Here's what happens when you get to become a woman of your own, and now
Mhm.
you're no longer in the house. As we work together, this isn't about obedience, it's about honor.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so
That's
what you
right.
do
It's true.
is, whereas you were forced to obey your parents when you're younger, now you make a choice to honor
Yes.
that parent that you're working with.
That's right.
And you have your gifts, you have your
Yes.
talents, but so does the parent. And you would never be in a position that you are in today had it not been for the work that the parent did. So that's why you honor the parent, is not so much for what she's doing today,
Yeah.
it's what she's done all these years
Yes.
before
Yeah.
that got all of us to where we are today. So this is what is unique,
Yeah.
is there is a mutual respect, but there's also a mutual honor that goes on here that we fight for as a family
That's right.
and even in this relationship, because
Yeah.
you do have certain gifts, mom has certain gifts, and those things could clash, like
Mhm.
happens with a lot of young girls and their moms in the home. But it's on both sides. There's a lot of grace given from the elder,
Right.
and there's
No, that's
a
right.
lot of grace and understanding and questions
And
from the
trust.
younger that says, hey, I want to do this better. And that's why, this God relationship is so important,
Yeah.
because it's hard to do that when you're fighting all these thoughts. So, Mary, you want to say something on that?
Yeah, I want to say I don't think any relationship will work, whether it's working or friendship, whatever, where there's not mutual honor. And when we've heard over the years, I couldn't work with my son, or I just couldn't work with my parents. What's missing is the ability to honor the other one. I'm sorry, I don't.
I agree.
There's no extra attribute that's negative that you were born with that keeps you from being able to do something that's hard.
Yes.
We all have the ability if we lay down our own desire. And honestly, what's worked for me, because I don't ever like to toot my own horn or brag, but I've been in some really important rooms with some really important people and sang in front of them. I've had certain nominations that were pretty prestigious. We did very well on the road, and I loved every minute of it. But I walked away for a season to raise my children.
Mhm.
And so going back to this, to be able to work with my daughter, and we work with all our kids
Mhm.
in ministry, and then hearing from others that couldn't do that, well, I can tell you what I've had to do in order to make that happen. I've had to, number one, be grateful for what I've already experienced.
Yes.
But I've also had to back up and say, I have to make this more about Stephanie right now. Even if she's wrong, I have to help support her, because I can't take from her these beginning stages. I didn't have a person that had already lived the life that I've lived hovering over me, overcorrecting. And I knew that I had to back up and say, okay, there's going to be a different system she's going to walk in. There's going to be different sounds she's going to hear. But the benefit to me is I get the blessing of watching this blossom in her and just help steer it when I need to, out of honor, but certainly not to crush her and to veer her off the road and go, forget it, I can't work for you, Mom. All you do is criticize. And what she's given me is her obedience, now honor, to say, let me receive from you what I can, because you have been there.
Yeah.
You do know how to write songs. And at the same time, there's a freedom in her to bring a bridge to the table, or a verse or a sound or something to the table that I'm like blown away by. But then I have the freedom to change whatever I feel like could make the song better. And at the end of the day, there's an old saying that we've said for years: the thing that I'm a part of is bigger than the part that I play.
Yeah.
I love that saying, because if you wake up in the morning thinking that thought and go to bed thinking that thought, you will just be so grateful for being in the room.
Yeah.
And no matter who you are or how big you are, if you started the company, if you're transitioning the company, whatever it is, just be grateful every day that you're still in the room.
Yeah.
And that what that sends to everybody else in the room is the message of you can still hang in there and honor every new person that's figuring it out and learning and coming along. And when you release that, it comes back to you.
And I'll add to that and say that the honor and the trusting that you're giving to your family or to the unit that you're working with, that you're recognizing that that's your foundation.
Right.
Which in music business and with musicians and with songwriters, all you need is a foundation.
Yeah.
You need
No,
the
it's true.
confidence, the talents, the funds, and a foundation.
Yeah.
Because if you do not have a foundation, you're kind of a homeless, you say homeless Christian, but homeless songwriter. And you spend years of your life trying to figure out what's even my sound. You need to attach to a label. You have to get a manager, and all the money's coming out of your own pocket. And you're hoping that the people you're working with
It's a
are
gamble.
loyal.
Yep.
But when you have a family that you can work with, for us it's music. For other people it may be architecture, design, whatever it is. That's your foundation.
Right.
And a lot of people in my generation, they may believe, oh, well, my parents, they set me up to get me to this point. Now I got to take the baton and run with it, which is partly true. But I think more blessings and more safety is unleashed if you say, okay, I'll take the baton, but I'm going to keep you with me
Yes, that's
all
right.
along the way.
Yeah.
That's right.
And stay attached to this foundation
Yeah.
because I this is my identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the result of this album. The album is a revealing of the identity of who we are as a family business, as a family worship team. And it just shows we have a very strong foundation
Yep.
that we have to be proud to be a part
We
of.
are.
Yeah.
That's right.
Steph,
That's
this
so
is
good.
unlike professional sports. Professional sports, really, the highest bidder gets the best talent because he's out there looking. He's going to hire them onto their team, pay them a lot of money, and it's really paycheck motivation for these young guns that are out there in professional sports. There was a shift, though, a few years ago before they started handing out those big contracts because before it was about the team. And you loved being with the team and the coach. And there
Right.
was something there that
Yes.
guys would stay committed to because they were winning and they had a goal to make it happen. But then things shifted when big contracts started to come around. And it really wasn't about the team anymore.
Yeah.
It became about my star.
That's right.
How high can I be seen, shoot into the atmosphere? How bright can my star be? That really became about the individual. And that
Yeah.
could really hurt in the home. It can hurt
That's true.
definitely in what we do as a business because, as a family, most of the time it's dad's star. In our
Yeah.
line of work, this
Yeah.
is what it's the vision. It's
You're the
what
coach.
we did,
Yeah.
moved out, okay, more or less own the team,
Yeah.
okay? So it's dad's star. But then when in that atmosphere, stratosphere
Yeah.
of the star, there's others. There's room for others to come alongside and say, wait, your star is pretty unique. And
Yeah.
your star is pretty unique. Because when we work together, and we do, because you two may write the songs together, but I'm part of the team
Management.
from a financial standpoint. Are
Executive
we spending
producer.
the right kind of
Yes.
money in the right
That's right.
place? The kind of songs. What do we want for our church?
Yep.
When should we be playing songs? I
Yeah.
just a long time ago said, look, I don't want to hear anybody else's songs on Sundays when you come to church, except our
ours.
songs going through our sound system. Why? Because this is our music.
That's right.
This is very
You have to market it.
intentional.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
not everybody's different songs. We're not playing all these other bands and
Right.
churches' music.
Yep.
Here's what Metro's is. Listen, we just did it recently at one of our getaway camps. Said, guys, we're changing our worship. We're changing all the music. I want it to be all about us. And though it was a men's environment, I still wanted the videos to be
Us.
from our Overcome Live
Love it.
project that was
Yeah.
just released. I wanted that, even though there was a woman in the room, in a sense, with us, with all men, I wanted the men to be able to stay focused on it.
That's
and quite
good.
frankly, I wanted them to have that thought in their mind when they go back and hear the song, it'll take them back to what happened when they were at camp.
Camp.
It's kind of
Yes.
like the broken heart. Every time they hear a song, they're
Yes.
reminded of the broken heart and what happened. I wanted it to
Yeah.
be when they hear this music, it takes
Association.
Go
them
back to that
back.
moment.
Association. So there's roles that I play in this, even though
Yes.
I'm not the songwriter, and I just don't say, guys, go do it. There
Yeah.
are some things that come along and say, hey, I like that, or let's go in this direction. Let's hear 90% of it is y'all,
Mhm.
but I do have a role. So even that teamwork and the family working together goes beyond just mom
Yes.
and daughter.
It does.
Right. Well, let me add to that because we had discussed it back at the beginning of this year that we were going to use our faith nights to record new projects and
Mhm.
new songs, and which put us under a lot of pressure. We put ourselves under a very pressurized timeline for this year. And then when we presented it to you, our idea, you were like, guys, you know what? You don't need to do that. You really need to spend more energy promoting
your
what you
team.
just released. Get your team out there. You don't need new. You need to spend more energy and money into what you've already done. And it released us
Yeah.
from feeling like, oh, it's old already and we gotta, we need to get new stuff.
Yeah.
So we need that input from the visionary of our church and the person that also helps write the checks to help us determine what we can spend. But that's wisdom and that's covering. And it really helped us. It didn't make us go, well, we can't do what we want to do now. Are you kidding? We had this meeting and it actually relieved us
Mhm.
Yeah.
because we were doing what we thought we were expected to do. And we presented it to you and you were like, it's not time. And that's what's so important about submitting
Yes.
your mission to the mission of the house and to
Yes.
the leader of the vision, because it keeps us all on the right timeline where we're not spinning our wheels and we're not exhausted. It's such good checks and balances.
Yes.
But you know what? Whether it's in music ministry, church ministry, if you're working for your parents under any circumstances, or you're working with family, when you eliminate the voice from the top, which happens when you work with family, because you slip into oh, it's dad,
Mm.
or oh, it's my uncle.
Yep.
When you do that, you dishonor the
Yeah.
position.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, I'm an employee like everybody else, what you do is you make it so much easier on your uncle or on your father or whoever it is that you're working for that's a family member that's running that company, because you're letting them know, I am not going to be the one. I will
Mhm.
not be the one that makes this harder on you. And for Stephanie and I, we know we could sit down and go, but we really want to record something new. We'd like to spend this much money, but we won't do it. Even if we felt like, you're missing it, you don't really know. That's the worst thing.
Mm.
Well, Pastor Steve doesn't really know the system. He doesn't really know what's going out there in the industry. And you got to have new music all the time. Every Friday, you got to drop something new. We've got to get it out there. We killed that thing.
Because it don't make you money.
Thank you.
More of
Keep
it won't
spending-
make you money.
No.
It's like we're producers and arrangers at full
Yeah.
time,
Won't make
and
a
that's not what
living.
we're called to do
No.
Mary, kids are doing the same thing in the home.
all the time.
And the parent, it was very easy to get a little intimidated, Steph, when you would say to me, Dad, Brewster says do this, or
Yeah.
so-and-so, the
label
label
says
says
this.
do this.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, that sounds right, but I'm not, I think I have
feel
a
right
different
about it.
opinion. I think maybe we can do it this way, maybe not shut off all that, but do it this way. But when I go there, you were willing and are willing to come off, well, this is what they said, because what they said may work for some people, but it doesn't always work for everybody. So
Yeah.
in the home, parents struggle with, I think I'm right.
Right. That's hard.
I think I'm right.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And my kids telling me that I'm not. They're making fun of me because I'm not on social media.
Yeah.
And the social media influencer on TikTok is over here saying this is how it should be done. And a parent starts to feel irrelevant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a parent can't vacate
No.
their position. The leader of the business can't vacate
That's
their
right.
position, all because they feel as though people are doing it a different way
Yeah.
and they're not going with their instincts.
Yeah.
Right.
And-
That's powerful.
And you got to go with the instincts
Yes.
of right,
Gotta go with
especially
your
if you're
gut.
on the same page with God and you know that you're flying at the right altitude for your life. You know this works for you. Don't back away from that.
Yeah.
And to your credit, along the way,
Mm-hmm.
okay, there's been a few of those.
Oh, yeah.
We'd have to butt heads a little bit, but then there would be times, and we would go with it.
Yeah.
But then as we got a little bit more into it, we're like, it's give and take. Okay, Steph, this doesn't sound right. And you've been able to back off of this where this is what so-and-so says. And you were willing to readjust
Yeah.
your sales and go in a different direction. And it's helped take the pressure
Yeah.
off of the environment
Right.
and the tension so that we could all really work together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because unfortunately, I had to get close to the music industry to see that my parents were right the whole time. Like, because what I learned about being in the creative world, in the songwriting world, is that creators, they're just your little bit of gasoline to keep the industry going.
Yeah.
But it's not the
Doesn't fill up the
car.
whole
It
tank.
doesn't
No,
fill up the
right.
whole tank.
Right.
And I love that I can create. It's so much fun. I love the reaction I get out of people when they love what I've created. But I've had to, the closer and closer I got to music labels, who's running those music labels, who's doing the finances in music labels, I was like, oh my God, all these people are like my parents. they're all in they're older. They are adults.
Yeah. They've been doing it a long time.
They've been doing it a long time. And I'm sorry, they are just signing you because they need you to help them bring in funds. Like, that's it. And because they have a living and you're going to need a living too.
It's their job.
It's their job. And for creatives, you need to partner with non-creatives.
Yeah, it's true.
If you actually want to
Administrative.
make this a sustainable life.
That's right.
It's an incredible gifting you have on your life. And I'm sure you can write the most beautiful songs, make the most beautiful graphics, whatever it is. But if you are not trusting the people in your life that, whether it's your parents, in our case, it's my parents, that bring stability and a 10-year view to what you're trying to create, then it won't sustain you. You really won't make money.
Well, I can be the world's greatest painter, but if I don't have some structure to hang my art on,
Yeah.
then what is it for? I
Yeah.
can't just lean it up against trees. You know, you got to have
Yes.
you got to have somebody who will build walls and will support and create structure for
Yeah.
you. And we were talking about this earlier. One of the things that was so frustrating for me when the years I was on the road is how many incredible artists that were so talented that were banking back in the day that didn't even know where all their money was.
Yeah.
So you can make all the money, you can live high on it and it all be about you. But at the end of the day, when you don't honor somebody else's abilities that are different than yours, and it might be your boss, it might be your dad who's head of the company or head of the ministry, and realize, hey, just the fact that he's been here longer means he's smarter, period. He's lived longer. He's seen some things. She's seen some things. There's experiences. What you learn when you've gone through winter, summer, spring, and fall a couple times, you realize, oh, it's all the same. It's coming back around and nothing really changes. Everything changes and nothing changes at
Yeah.
the same time. So it's really wisdom of you, Stephanie, and we've talked about it, that you've embraced that because you can embrace the creative side. You can embrace the talent. You can be obedient, take the job. But when you truly create the inner workings of what makes this work, which is submission and obedience and honor, the sky's the limit.
And you know, another thing, back to that whole trust idea and honoring, my pregnancy brain.
This is real time, y'all.
Oh, yes.
I was going to say
Yes, you were.
another reason why it's important.
There
Oh,
it is.
she got it. There it came
Hold
back.
on to it. Go.
I'm so sorry. The reason why it is so important to team up with a foundation like your family and your church is I've heard so many albums from the best worship leaders, and they will spend an entire year in the heart of Nashville surrounded completely by other creatives
Yes, oh
who
Lord.
get excited just by creating. And they built up this album to be the best album ever. And I hear it and it is so boring.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I connect to. There's nothing that's realistic or
Because it wasn't organic.
because it wasn't organic.
Natural.
And it always reminds me, I love Nashville. I love the people in Nashville. They're great. I have to go, and I go there often. I will be going there often.
Yeah.
It does a lot of good for creatives. But if you want to make an album, if you want to create something that's actually going to touch the people in your life, then stay around the people in your life
That's right.
and trust their opinions. Like when I think of a song, I bring it to you.
Yeah.
And then I bring it to Gabby because
Yeah.
she's musical, but she's not a writer, but she knows good music.
Yes, she does.
Mhm.
And she'll
Devours
tell
it.
me, "Oh my gosh, that's really good," or "That's
Do
way
you
too
bring it to
wordy."
Chris?
Huh?
Do you bring it to Chris?
I-
To Fur, your brother?
No.
Do you bring it to your husband, Chris?
Yes.
Yes.
Because he likes only country music.
Yeah,
So.
that's why he's part of the family.
And he'll give me "Oh, I love that," if it's really, really good.
Yeah.
And then he'll just go, "That was cute," if it's not that good. So I trust his
'Cause-
opinion.
And you know your
Way
brother.
to go, Weena.
My brother will think any idea
he's going to love it all.
is amazing.
He's just proud of you all the time.
Yes. But yeah.
Well, this is cool. You know, I think this is all being recorded during Women's History Month. And just recently there was Women's International Day.
It was yesterday,
International Women's
I'm
Day.
trying not to put a date on this recording, but thank you for doing
right? Well,
that.
it was somewhere in this month.
Yes, somewhere in this month. So, but I want you to know this. I'm surrounded by very strong women that every day demonstrate their wisdom, their strength, their balance, their honor, their desire to be a team leader and a team player. And it's what makes me and my son and all the men that are on our staff better, because we are surrounded by strong women that want to be part of the team. And I'm so grateful for that. So, ladies, good job today.
This was a good,
Thank you.
good
I
one.
had fun with you. Thanks for inviting me to your table, evidently, because this was your episode.
Yes.
And we welcome you and thank you for joining us for another one of our episodes here at the Family Business with the Alessis. Thanks for joining.
Hey there, if you enjoyed this episode of the Family Business Podcast with the Alessis, then you'll want to know we've got more insight, more encouragement, more great conversations that we can have on Sundays, and even some surprises coming your way. So you want to make sure you subscribe to our channel and watch one of these next videos here next, because remember, family is everybody's business.